Hi, everybody. It's Barbara Schwartz, CEO of Acu Weight Loss, and welcome to our Monday night Facebook Live. So I'm going to start with answering some questions, and quite a few things over the past couple of weeks have been tipping off, and I want to kind of delve into some of those subjects. But I wanted to start with some questions that have come up either repetitively or I thought were really important that had come up over the past couple of weeks while I was on and offline. I want to start with Impossible Burger. Quite a few people have been talking about it, asking about it. I believe that's actually the brand they're using. Even they're doing plant-based burgers at Burger King. I'm seeing Impossible Burger popping up in a lot of restaurants. So as a brand, a veggie burger, it's becoming quite popular. And because they actually say it's plant-based, people are under the impression that it's a purely vegetable burger, and that's not the case. So I just wanted to start with clarifying because I've had a lot of people asking about it. So here we are. So first of all, while on AccuWeight, Impossible Burger is a no. And the two main ingredients in Impossible Burger are soy and potato. So again, not to say that it's not a healthy choice when you're in phase 2 or phase 3, but while you're on the Acu weight loss plan, while you're in phase 1 weight loss mode, the two main ingredients are two things that are not part of the program. So the answer is no. And I'll be honest, I haven't actually come across a store-bought brand that is purely vegetables without some kind of legume as the protein source. And again, there are no legumes while on AccuWeight. It's, on your vegetable days, you're using actual vegetables, and legumes are not vegetables, they're legumes. And again, they are plant-based. Both are plant-based, but they have different nutritional values and qualities. So we're going to be staying away from legumes while we're in weight loss mode, but they are a very healthy option when in phase 2 and phase 3. So hopefully that clarifies. So again, very black and white, no Impossible Burgers while in phase 1 weight loss. So that's number one. So what's come up is, we've got a lot of new clients and also people returning to the program. And, it's also a time of weather change. So it's a season where people do have a tendency to get headaches. And so I've had a few people say to me, how do I know the difference between a detox headache and just a headache? How do I know if it's coming from being on the weight loss plan versus something else? And again, if it's a detox headache, how long should I expect this to last? So first of all, a detox headache, if you're going to experience one while on AccuWeight, is going to occur sometime in the first 10 days. And it's only going to last 2 to 3 days typically. It only happens to about 15% of people. So that means out of 100, 15 will experience, on average, 15 people will experience a detox headache, but it does mean 85% or 85 out of 100 will not. So there's a good chance when you're starting AccuWeight that you are not going to experience any kind of headache. But if you do, a detox headache is a headache that gets you square between the eyes, right here between the eyebrows. It's very, in quality, it's very buzzy. It's almost annoying because you feel like you can see it. And I'll be honest, this last time that I did AccuWeight, for the very first time, because again, I detox a couple times a year, for the very, very first time, I experienced a detox headache. And so we're talking about 15 years of at least twice a year doing a detox, let alone my first journey 15 years ago. And in all these times, I'd never experienced it before. But I did experience it this time. So my best description, first of all, many, not all people, but many people are coffee drinkers. If you've ever given up your coffee kind of cold turkey and you get that annoying buzzy headache from giving up your caffeine, that's a detox headache. That's what that is. So it's not debilitating. It's not like a migraine. It doesn't ruin your day. It doesn't mean you can't go to work. It doesn't mean you can't get out of bed. But it is very buzzy right here. And because it's in the front of your face, without question, it's annoying. But whatever analgesic you normally take, Tylenol, Advil, aspirin, Excedrin, whatever you take for a headache, you'll take it and it'll go away. Drink a little more water, flush it out, but know that it's only going to last 2 to 3 days. I'm a little stubborn. I don't like to take medication when I don't have to, so I just lived through it, and it was annoying, very annoying. I'm not going to lie, but it passed after 2 days. That was fine. So again, it's not something debilitating. Now, in terms of other natures of headaches, I will say that if you have a headache right here at the top of your head, especially if it feels like it's pounding or throbbing, not always, but sometimes that's an indication of a digestive issue. So maybe there's a food sensitivity or something you've eaten isn't agreeing with you. So if you're consistently getting a headache here, it's definitely worth telling your AccuWeight loss consultant about it. Reach out to us and have a discussion, because there's a good chance maybe there's lactose intolerance, maybe there's a fruit or vegetable that you have a sensitivity to, or one of the sweeteners or one of the flavorings you're using. It could be anything. It even could be, again, a sensitivity to a specific gum or candy or a vitamin or supplement you're taking. So it's worth taking a look at what you've been taking. But if you're experiencing something kind of as a one-off, it may not be a big deal. It's worth taking notice. But if you're experiencing something repetitively, again, a headache right here or a headache right here, definitely reach out to us. Those may be, again, this one, if it's in the first 2 weeks, it's going to be program related. If it's here at any time, it could really be a food sensitivity. So it's worth having a conversation with us. In terms of headaches, anywhere else on your head? It could be weather shift and barometric change. It could be dehydration. It could be stress. There are many things that we know bring on headaches. But again, specific to the AccuWeight loss program and losing weight and going through the detox that we're initially going through as we change the nature of the food we're eating, right here, buzzy headache, or right here, are most probably program related. And if you have any questions or concerns, that's what our team is here for. We're here to help. We're here to help you clarify on what that's all about. Okay? So don't ever be shy. Even if you're experiencing a headache somewhere else, it never hurts to ask us. We are here to assist. The worst thing we're going to say is, you know what, that's probably not program related. And if it's persistent, you might want to see a doctor. If it's one-off, again, take an analgesic and you should be okay. So now also I should mention, because it came up with a client in one of the offices last week who throughout her entire first week had a detox headache. Now, again, that's not typical. And because I knew that wasn't typical and she really was uncomfortable, we went digging further. And what I really heard was she was somebody who does drink a lot of water, which is terrific. But what I was hearing was mild dehydration, and really from a mineral imbalance. And how I know this, and so again, it's listening to your body. She had been recommended when she started to consider, with the high level of water she drinks, and also she does exercise, it was suggested that she take some electrolytes. And what she indicated when we were talking was that within minutes of drinking the electrolyte drink, and she was using the Noon dissolved in water, and she said, oh my gosh, within minutes I felt better. And then these were her words: as it wore off, I started to feel the headache again. Now, electrolytes don't wear off, right? We can go through them, but it's not kind of like an analgesic that can wear off. So what it told me is that throughout the day, she didn't have the mineral support to absorb the water that she was taking in. And so we needed to add another electrolyte into her day and maybe look at how much water she's consuming compared to the electrolytes. Again, keeping in mind exercise patterns, etc. But this week, where we've added the extra electrolyte in, she's not really having an issue. So sometimes a prolonged experience of headache could indicate something else. And again, that's why don't hesitate to reach out to us. We often are going to need to do a bit of Q&A, but that Q&A is going to get to the root cause of the problem, and we're going to solve it together. And once we have an answer, now we have a solution that's going to serve us not only while we're on the weight loss plan, but phase 2 stabilization and phase 3 maintenance. And the bigger issue is when there are imbalances, if we don't identify them now, they're often the cause of what made you gain weight in the first place, or contributing factors. What some people don't realize is if you have a vitamin or mineral imbalance, well, food contains vitamins and minerals. So often we're using the food as a Band-Aid, because if we feel something's off and when we eat we feel better, then every time we feel that feeling of off or bad, or maybe it's blood sugar, again, hydration levels, or a mineral or vitamin imbalance, all of these things can be patched or put a Band-Aid on with food. But if we're eating to resolve a problem that's not whole nutrition of what we need for the day, but actually fixing an imbalance with food, we're usually overeating. And that overeating, even though it makes us feel better, is one of the things leading and contributing to our weight gain. So one of the really cool things while on the AccuWeight journey is, if you think about it, it's an elimination diet. We're pulling a lot of foods out of the day-to-day lifestyle while in phase 1 weight loss. And remember, this is a temporary give. It's not forever, but we are making a change. And by eliminating many of our foods, sometimes we actually eliminate food sensitivities because we've taken a lot of the foods away that may be an irritant and you didn't know. So often I hear, wow, I feel so much better, and I had no idea. So it's a great way to isolate, so that when we bring the food back in phase 2, we can highlight quite easily food sensitivities. So that's one benefit. But when we pull that food out, and now we're in nutritional balance, but we're on minimal nutrition. Again, enough nutrition for health, enough nutrition to trick your brain that we don't have those calories taken away, but minimal enough to make your body turn to the sugar in your fat cells for your energy, right? So that's the whole chemical balance of AccuWeight. But by pulling all this food back, and we don't have the Band-Aids anymore. The Band-Aids have been taken away. So by being on the bare minimum that you need for proper health and taking the Band-Aids away, underlying imbalances are going to reveal themselves. Now, the sucky part, and I'm going to be honest, it sucks. Not kidding. Because if you've got an imbalance, you're not going to feel right. And that sucks. But the good news is, if we know about it, then we together can identify a better solution for dealing with the imbalance. And again, if it's hydration, or like with this young woman I'm talking about, we added some additional electrolytes and she felt better. Well, how much food may have she been eating to get the extra electrolytes in her system and keep hydrated? Well, now with very minimal food, she's finding her proper hydration balance. And when we bring the food back, she's not going to be reliant on it. Maybe there is a B12 or an iron or a calcium or a magnesium, or, again, different symptoms you might experience or different cravings are going to help us indicate, or if you're feeling a certain way. I've had people who are like, oh, all of a sudden I'm bruising a lot. Well, it's not 100%, but often your vitamin C is low if you're bruising a lot. Now, that's not 100%. We're all a little unique, and it might be a different cause. But often, again, vitamin C is water soluble. So maybe you drink a lot of orange juice or eat a lot of citrus fruits, and now we've reduced you to 2 servings of fruit on a fruit and vegetable day, or maybe the other foods you were getting the sources of what you need from food, and we took those foods away. Well, now we're going to have to rely on some vitamin C supplements to get the vitamin C levels right. But all of a sudden, when we do, the bruising stops. And now we know, okay, with the right supplementation, I'm getting what I need. And when we bring the food back, the food is for nutrition and not for patchwork. So it becomes a win-win, right? So that's just a little insight into some things going on. But again, a headache is a very common, especially in the seasonal changes. It is very common because of changes. Some people are very sensitive to barometric change. It's not uncommon. But again, any analgesic is allowed while on Acuvate. So even if the root cause of a headache is not Acuvate, again, maybe it's just, okay, it's getting ready to rain. And some people, I know a lot of people get headaches when the rain is coming. You can take Tylenol Advil, again, whatever works for you. Take it for your headache to go away, and it's not going to conflict with your program. So how do I know if I'm truly hungry or dehydrated? So that kind of goes with what we were talking about. In general, any sense of urgency for food is typically not 100%. Nothing's ever 100% left or right. But typically, if you have an urgency for food, I am starving, I am famished, I am ravenous, my stomach is growling, I need to eat now. Most of those are indicative of some mild dehydration. And we'll go back to, I know we've talked about it before, but this is where, hearing something more than once, you get a different angle, you hear something different you didn't hear before, and we learn through repetition, is the basic rule of 3. We can live without food for approximately 3 weeks. We can live without water for approximately 3 days. That's the rule of 3. 3 weeks without food, but only 3 days without water. So now let's just pretend, again, nothing major. We're not out in the desert. We did not drink anything, but maybe you're not a big water drinker. And maybe you've been exercising, or again, it's been a hot day, or again, while on Acuvate, we took the food away, so you're not getting hydrated from food. So all of a sudden, it's 7 o'clock at night, and you're like, I am starving. I got to eat something. Now, think about this. If your body is feeling a little dehydrated, the brain starts to say this: I can survive for about 3 days without water. I'm already probably at 2.5 if I'm already feeling dehydrated. I'm going to die. I don't want to die. I'm going to die. Help, I'm going to die. And yes, it is that just surreal for the brain. Our brain's job is to make sure that we live and that we survive. So we go into survivalist mode, fight or flight. So again, the brain is going to send panicked messages if it's indicating any mild dehydration, because it's literally saying, if I don't fix this problem within 3 days, I'm going to die. And I've been telling you that I'm thirsty, but I'm not getting what I need. So let's have a little panic attack and scream, hungry, starving. So if your brain is screaming at you starving, usually you'll head to the fridge, and you head to the fridge and you eat. And you're going to eat quite a bit usually, and you're going to want more and more and more. And especially if you notice yourself going for the salty foods, that is dead ringer, right? Because salt is one of our electrolytes. So our brain is actually telling us, I need hydration. So starving, famished, ravenous, growling belly will typically mean I need some level of hydration. So go to your water with electrolytes. Ideally, usually you need water with electrolytes. But as a general rule, if you can say, if I ask you, how much water did you drink today? If you can honestly say, probably not enough, then you're going on the path of dehydration. Because most people, when they're honest with themselves, not everybody, but most people will say to me, yeah, I probably should be drinking more. If you think that, then you're probably right. And get ahead of that, right? You can start, there's no time like the present. And I know people don't want to drink that much at night. We don't want to wake up to urinate all night long. So remember also those little small Dixie cups, bathroom Dixie cups. A little shot of water is not going to make you run to the bathroom. But if you're doing a shot of water every hour throughout the day, And maybe you're not drinking more than that in the evening, but in the evenings, continue with that shot of water. It's going to help keep you hydrated through the night. And then we wake up in the morning and we're dehydrated because we've gone all night without intaking any food or water. So we do wake up dehydrated. So it's also really important to start our day with water. And most of us, and again, there are many people who don't drink coffee, but what I do hear, I'd say from at least 85% of our clients, is they start their day with a cup of coffee. So my recommendation there is start your day with an 8-ounce or more glass of water. I'm not saying don't have your coffee, but have your glass of water first. Get rehydrated first, then enjoy the coffee. So you can have both, but start with the water. Okay, so enough on that topic. Yeah, other really important one. What is the issue with vinegar? I had an appointment this evening with a lovely lady who is a client of my dad's. She comes here to Paramus, and she's nicely on the path to losing weight. But she said, you know what? I would have expected with the work I'm doing, and yeah, I had a couple of strays, but I still would have expected that I've lost more. I think it's my metabolism. I think it's just stopped. And I said, are you following it? Are you massaging the beads? And she said, oh, I know it. I know the plan. I know what I'm doing. And, you know, of course I'm doing the beads and I'm not cheating and I'm this and I'm that. And I said, oh, okay, I hear you. But if you've stalled and it's more than 1 week, ongoing, it's not going to be water retention. So something's going on and we need to get to the root of it. So please don't be insulted, but I'm going to go through a list of questions with you. And she said, yeah, she could up her water a bit. Okay, so that's definitely contributing to a slower weight loss, is not drinking enough water on a regular basis. But again, she's consistently losing, but she's losing slower than we would expect. And so I wouldn't say also she wasn't really at a standstill. She's losing every week. I looked at her history. She's losing every week. But again, not as much as I would expect month to month. And so we went over the food, we went over the beads, we went over the times, we went over everything. And then I said, what are you using? Are you using vinegar? She said, no, I don't buy store, but I cook, I this, I that. And I said, and what are you putting on your salads? She said, sometimes ranch dressing, sometimes this dressing, sometimes that dressing. I said, ding, ding, ding. All of those dressings have vinegar in them. And so, again, vinegar is not allowed while on the program. And we're talking phase 1, weight loss. We will bring it back during phase 2, and it is absolutely allowed during phase 3 maintenance. But while in the weight loss mode, no vinegar. So let's review the food again and the vinegar for a moment. So we've got whole milk and whole milk yogurt. Again, there are dairy alternatives for people who don't use dairy. And we've got fruits and vegetables. If you look at our core ingredients, now again, for us, there are lots of recipes. You never have to eat it plain like that. But our core ingredients, milk, yogurt, fruits, vegetables, they're the core ingredients in a 10-month-old baby's diet. I like to joke, you have teeth, I don't make you puree it. But what we're looking at is a baby's diet. Vinegar is acetic acid. If you gave a baby vinegar, it'd spit up. It's too acidic for the digestive system. So by the temporary diet change that we're giving you while on the AccuWeight plan, while you're in phase 1, this temporary diet protocol is alkalizing your digestive system back to natural pH balance, to the pH balance of a 10-month-old. Vinegar neutralizes the chemistry of the program. So yes, vinegar, there's no question that in other contexts, you're going to read about all the health properties of vinegar. We're not saying anything to the contrary. I'm not telling you that certain protocols of apple cider vinegar, they have been shown to help in certain diseases, et cetera, et cetera. There are different protocols and ways to use vinegar that add that can have health properties. And when you're in phase 2 or phase 3, you can certainly introduce them if they're things that could apply to positivity in your world. But within the chemistry of the AccuWeight Loss Plan, vinegar neutralizes the health properties of our plan. So it just goes back to chemistry. So the analogy I like to use is if I have a glass of water and I take a pen and a drop of ink falls into that glass. Now you watch it, just a tiny drop of ink, but you watch it dissolve into the water. There's only a teeny tiny drop, but it changed the properties of the entire glass of water. So even though you can see this is a clear glass of water, right? It's literally clear. If I hand it to you and said, have a drink, you saw the ink fall in it. I venture to guess that you are not going to drink that water because you know that there's some ink dissolved inside, and that ink changed the chemical properties of the water. The same thing. The vinegar challenges the chemistry of the AccuWeight Loss Plan, and therefore it's going to sabotage the weight loss. Now, for some people, it has very little impact because it may not be a significant amount of vinegar. But for others, the smallest amount, that one tiny drop going into the glass of water, right, that one tiny drop going into your digestive system can neutralize everything. And from being where you're losing 15, 20 pounds a month, you could be down to losing half a pound a week. It's just not worth it. So that's why we eliminate the vinegar. It just neutralizes the chemistry of what we're doing. And again, it is not taboo for a lifetime. It just neutralizes the chemistry of phase 1, and it does get reintroduced in phase 2. So I hope that solves the mystery of that. So those are the questions that I hit upon mostly this week. So let me see what other notes. It's some conversations that I feel like I've been having repetitively lately in the offices is, look, there is always a challenge in our life. Right? I don't know anybody whose life has not challenge on some level. So I understand making a lifestyle change following AccuWeight loss can be a challenge. I get that. Because we're asking you temporarily to eat noon to 6. We're asking you temporarily to change your actual diet, 2 days of milk and yogurt, 2 days of fruits and vegetables. Yes, I can make some recipes, but my family eats dinner at 7. My friends are going out drinking and there's no alcohol. There's this celebration. I'm going to the movies. I'm doing this. Look, we didn't ask you to stop living. We asked you to temporarily change your eating lifestyle for a finite period of time. So yes, there's a challenge. And I'll be honest, any weight loss program you're following on some level has a challenge because if you don't change something, you're not losing weight. But let's look at this and take a step back for a moment. So let's get out of our own personal challenge. Let's step away from it. I get it. What's going on in your world is what's going on with you, and what's going on in my world is going on with me. And I've had clients who say to me, oh, it always seems so easy when you do it. No, I just make a decision and go for it. Doesn't mean I don't experience challenges, and some of my daily videos hopefully have shed some light on that. I just, more often than not, I'd suck it up and just keep moving forward because I made that decision. But if you look at it this way, if something brought you to AccuWeight, be it your health, be it your clothes don't fit, your knees hurt because you're carrying around too much weight, inflammation, again, you're on meds and you want to get off meds, you realize it's good for balancing blood sugar, for reducing blood pressure quickly, for self-healing. Whatever brought you here, something in your life is creating challenge that made you unhappy and made you want to lose weight. So whatever your personal reason is, you already have a challenge in your life that's making you want to lose weight and or detox, right? So you already have a challenge. And by doing nothing at all, that challenge is going to continue to live with you. So it is a challenge, but in a way it's a passive challenge, because do nothing and the challenge will just keep being there. But it's what you're used to. And so in a way, doing nothing is just accepting the challenge and having to face it every day because it's in your world. And obviously, again, if you came to Activate, you're unhappy. So you're looking to take action. So now you sign up and you join Activate and you start. And you're facing challenges. Ugh, people are criticizing me. They don't understand it. Everybody's going out to dinner and I can't eat with them. They're going to the movies and I want the popcorn. I'm used to, I'm an emotional eater and I want to give in, or I have been giving in. Well, look, these are all active challenges. This is happening right? You're living life and we are forcing some new challenges to face you maybe every day or at least a few times a week. And yeah, that's a lot to ask. We're asking you to actively take on a challenge. But look at it this way. The active challenge, if you're taking it on and facing it and accepting that it's a challenge, okay, but guess what? Where you started was a challenge, right? You wouldn't have come if it wasn't. So I'm already living a challenge, but now I'm actively choosing to face some new challenges. But again, Activate is finite. You're going to lose body fat. Yay, have my toy back. Pound of fat. Pound of fat. So look, even if you're not being perfect, we promise you if you're following it to the letter of the law, so to speak, you're going to lose 15 pounds of fat or more every month. But even if you're human and you've strayed a bit, chances are you're losing 10 to 12. You're still transforming your life and you're improving on yourself as you take on the challenge. But remember, just think about it. Even if you're losing 10 pounds a month, in a finite period of time, no matter what it is, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Now look, if you have 20 pounds to lose, you're talking 1 to 2 months. Even if you had 100 pounds to lose, even if you weren't 100% perfect, because we're human, so you set out to be perfect, but you strayed, but you got back on, right? You're still talking in under a year. You're at a goal. You're at a major transformation and you're at a goal. So no matter how you look at how much weight you have to lose, I don't care if it's 10 pounds, 20, 30, 40, 150, 300, anything in between. However much weight you have to lose, if you decide to take the active challenge, I'm going to do Activate, I'm going to face the challenges, I'm going to be a grown-up, there are days it's going to suck, but guess what? Being like this, which doesn't feel good, that sucks too. But there is a finite period of time where phase 1 is going to end, and we're going to move to phase 2 and start reintroducing food and moving to a more quote-unquote normal lifestyle. So not only is there a light at the end of the tunnel in the weight loss, but guess what? It puts a light at the end of the tunnel of the challenge that brought you here in the first place. Because if you're overweight and you're living that challenge because things hurt, because your knees hurt more than they should because you're carrying too much weight on them, because your blood sugars are out of balance. Again, it's one thing if you're diabetes type 1, but diabetes type 2 is often correctable or improvable through the right balanced diet. And again, on this, we see improvement in blood sugars. So example, the woman who was here earlier who's using vinegar. The one thing I can say is over the time, and she's a diabetic, her blood sugars are in balance and have been for 2 months now. So right there, by taking on the challenge, her blood sugar is back in balance. How many clients are off their blood pressure meds or been able to reduce them? So by taking the active challenge of Activate, you're making a choice. I'm going to take the active challenge. There's a finite period of time, but then the challenge of Activate itself goes away because we're bringing the food back. And the passive challenge, if it didn't go away altogether, it improved and it reduced the challenge significantly because of the weight loss. So you're actually, by deciding to take an active challenge and face it, I'm not saying it's not, you know what? It's not going to be easy. It's simple. It is simple. Okay, so it's not easy. But living the way you are, feeling the way you feel that brought you to Acuvate in the first place, that's not easy either. But guess what? Taking the challenge to do Acuvate and actually just facing it, suck it up and face it. Okay, it's challenging, yes. Doesn't mean you can't fetch, doesn't mean you can't complain, doesn't mean you can't come to us for guidance. We're here for all of that. But if you really think about it, if you just suck it up and face it, you can make both challenges go away in a shorter amount of time. Like somebody was asking me, how did I, especially in my first journey 15 years ago, how did I deal with all the stuff? I said, you know what? I made, I think it was 3 decisions. Number one, that I wanted to lose this weight. I had to lose this weight and it was urgent. It was important. And there was just no denying that. So that was number one. I made a decision. I wanted to lose the weight. Forget the stuff. I wanted to lose the weight. Number 2, there was nothing that was more important than me and that goal of losing weight to sabotage me. Because number 3, I did not want to be on this program 1 day longer than I had to be. Those were my decisions. And because I wanted to lose this weight and I refused to be on the plan, I refused to be in phase 1 day longer than I had to be. So no matter how tough it got, I stuck to my resolve because nothing was more important than me and my goal. And I figured out ways around dealing with the day-to-day challenges. And I've told you guys, I think I've shared it with you before in this context, but I will never forget being menstrual. And of all things, it's one of those things you just never forget. I was craving Carr's table water crackers. No idea why I was craving that, but that's what I wanted. They were in my cabinet. I took the box out. I sat down in my kitchen. And I sat on the kitchen floor. And this maybe went on for 10 minutes, if that. Felt like hours. Definitely felt like hours because I wanted it. I cried. I talked to the box of crackers. I actually said, I want you so bad right now. Right now. I want you so bad. And I was crying. And I said, but I want this weight off my body more than I want you. So I will have you crackers when I am done with this plan. But I'm not going to give in. And I'm not going to have you now because I deserve to be done. I deserve to have this weight off. And I had this conversation. I felt like an idiot. Crazy telling you now. But you know what? If you need to hear that it's okay to cry through a tough moment. It's okay to talk to a box of crackers. It's okay to do what you need to do. But guess what? The tough moment left. The tough moment disappeared. It did. And it didn't take that long. During that time, look, during a craving, it's going to feel like 5 hours. It will. But usually it's only 20 minutes. And there's nothing you can't do to 20 minutes to get to the other side. And then when you do get to the other side, like when I got up off the floor and I put the crackers away, and I was like, I did it. Yes, I did it. Well, guess what? I felt so good. I had some water. I don't even remember what I did right after that, but I remember standing up and being like, yes, triumph, I did it. And you know what? Then I had a great day. And I had a great day. I don't even remember what else happened, but I got past that moment. And that was one of my worst because it was hormonal driven and I felt out of balance. I felt wacky. And if it ever happened again, maybe I'd go research what's in those crackers that I wanted so bad. But the bottom line is you can get through it. You can. You just need some strategies and we're here to help. Okay? So you're not bothering us. But you do have to make some decisions. And by not making a decision, kind of having it teeter-totter, right? Well, but I want this, but I want this, but I want this, and I want that, and I want this, and I want that. All this indecision is one of the things that is sabotaging you. It is. It's one of the things that's sabotaging you. So sometimes just making a decision. What do you want? And again, I wanted it. My want was 3 pieces. I want to lose this weight. I don't want to allow anything to be more important than me in this goal. And I don't want to be on Accurate phase 1 day longer than I have to be. I want to get to phase 2, stabilize, and go on with maintenance. Like, I want to be on the shortest, like, get me from the point A to B in the shortest amount of time. And making those decisions for me was what got me to my goal. And so your decision might be different or your goal setting, but go for it. There's no day like today, and there's nobody more important than you. And yes, your loved ones are really important. But like they say on the airplane, God forbid that mask comes down. If you don't put yours on first, you can't help anybody else. So you have to make you important because nobody else will. You are a priority. You are important. Make a decision for you that will serve you a lifetime because it will make a difference for you. And I know how frustrating it is not to achieve a goal. I get it. And I also get that there are challenges, but there's nothing that you can't overcome if you choose to in this weight loss journey. I know you can, and we are here to help. So don't ever backtrack on yourself. And we're not here to judge you. We're just here to help. So look, I just told you one of my craziest stories, sitting and talking a box of crackers. I certainly am not going to judge you and whatever you're going through, but I might have some ideas that help, or the consultant that you're working with. We're going to have ideas that can help you, so don't be shy, okay? And on that same token, look, sometimes challenges happen. I had a woman here today, and she said, look, I got a few challenges this week. It's my husband's 60th birthday, and we're having a big celebration, and that's Friday night. And then on Sunday, we're going to the marathon, and then there's this big luncheon and thing and whatever, and it's at a restaurant, and I said, look, okay, your husband's 60th is only going to come once. So we did a modified plan for that night so she can enjoy dinner with him and the group, and she can have a little champagne toast or whatever. But okay, so that's a planned day off. And that happens. Sometimes there's something really special that's worth taking a day off because, again, phase 1 is not your lifestyle. It's your weight loss plan. So sometimes there is something really important that's worth taking the day off for. But going out with a group of people because of the marathon to have a luncheon, that's not a good excuse for taking a day off, especially when you're taking a day off a couple days earlier. So what did we do? She didn't know what restaurant she was going to, so we went on the internet and we looked together at the menu. And we came up with some options, and she looked at me and said, wow, I feel so empowered right now. I can do this. Yeah, you can. It just takes planning. Planning equals success. Now, as they say, sometimes best laid plans, and sometimes our plans don't come to fruition. But more often than not, they will. And so if you have an active challenge, especially because you know you're going out and you're going to be in a restaurant, contact one of us. Reach out to your consulting team. We're all happy to do what I did with this young lady is let's take a look at the menu together and let's see what your options are so that you have choices when you walk in. And what you're eating doesn't affect anybody else. So order what you need. Get what you want. And the way to approach it, if you really don't want to talk about weight loss, again, she's in a big group that's going out together. Do what I did when I was trying to order some stuff at Haru. Instead of getting into the details, I just said, listen, I'm doing a detox. These are the things I'm allowed, and these are the things I'm not allowed. What can you do for me? So if you're not sure what's on the menu, just be candid with the waiter. I'm on a detox and I've been working too hard to sabotage it. These are the things I'm allowed. These are the things I'm not allowed. In this day and age, look, 20 some odd years ago, talking about detox was a whole different world. These days, saying I'm doing a detox, it's a pretty common thing these days. And so you don't want to talk about weight loss? Don't. Just say, I'm doing a detox and this is what I need. And I'm too many days into it to sabotage it now. So can you help me out? And that's even what you can say to the group. If you're with a group and they don't know that you're on a weight loss plan and you don't want to draw attention to it, just say that. I'm doing a detox and it feels great, but I'm limited on what I can eat right now. So here's the thing. And I'm too many days into the detox to spoil it now. It may raise conversation or you can close it down right there. But there are tools, there are thoughts, there are things that you can say and do that are going to work for you. So just don't be shy about it. And again, if you need some help for strategies, we're here for you. So don't hesitate to ask. Keep those questions and comments coming, and I will see you again next Monday night. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and hopefully see you